Our next lecture, as we move through the skin and the body membranes, we're going to talk about appendages. Our skin appendages include cutaneous glands, such as the sebaceous glands and the sweat glands, hair follicles, and nails. Let's first talk about some of the different glands that are producing substances. The first up is sebaceous glands. They secrete sebum, which is an oily secretion, and they're found all over the body except the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. The sebaceous glands function as holocrine glands, these secreting their product into a hair follicle or to a pore on the surface of the skin. Secretion by sebaceous gland is stimulated by hormones, so these glands are highly activated at puberty. Sweat glands produce sweat. There are two different types. The eccrine sweat glands produce true sweat and are abundant on the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, and the forehead. Now, the secretion of eccrine glands is regulated by the sympathetic nervous system and is used to prevent the body from overheating. Apocrine sweat glands are confined to the axillary and genital areas and produce a fat and protein-rich true sweat. What is the composition of sweat? It's mostly water with some salts and vitamin C, some metabolic waste, some fatty acids, and some proteins. And what does it do? Of course, it's going to help dissipate the heat, excretes those waste products, and the acidic nature inhibits bacterial growth. It's the odor associated with sweat is not from the sweat itself, it's associated with the bacteria that's feeding on the sweat. Next, let's talk about the appendages of the skin, hair. Hair are pili. They're flexible strands produced by hair follicles that consist of dead, keratinized cells. The main regions of the hair are the shaft, which projects from the skin, and the root, which is embedded in the skin. The hair has 3 layers of keratinized cells, and we'll talk about those more in detail. But the hair pigments, those would be the melanocytes, which give the hair its different colors. They are made by melanocytes at the base of the hair follicle. As I said, the hair has 3 layers. The inner core is the medulla, the middle layer is the cortex, and the outer layer is the cuticle. Hair follicles fold down from the epidermis into the dermis and occasionally into the hypodermis. The wall of the hair follicle is composed of a peripheral connective tissue sheath, a thickening basement membrane, and an inner epithelial root sheath. The hair matrix within the hair bulb is a group of actively dividing cells that produce the hair. Now, associated with each hair follicle is a bundle of smooth muscle cells called an arrector pili muscle, which, when contraction occurs, causes the hair to stand upright. Nails. Nails is a scale-like modification of the epidermis that forms a protective covering on the dorsal side of the distal finger or the toe. Nails are made up of hard keratin and have a free edge, a nail plate attached to the skin, and a root embedded in the skin. The nail matrix, located within the proximal part of the nail bed, is responsible for nail growth. So what do I need to know about appendages of the skin? First off, what are the appendages of the skin? What is the composition and functions of sweat? And what is the function of the arrector pili muscle? Basically, the last question there happens to be all about goosebumps. That's all for now, and we'll move on to the next lecture.